Hello guys, this is the Shiro Mage. I promised you guys about a Razer Naga gamer mouse interview or review, whatever you can call it. And I've written a bunch of stuff down and I'm going to share my thoughts with you on it. I'm going to say a bunch of things you probably already know because of doing research and stuff like that. And I'm probably going to also tell you some stuff that you don't know yet. As far as setup, it has a USB cable. You plug it in via USB. It has comes with a complete manual. It's a rather big manual, and it tells you a lot about the mouse. And it does also come with these adhesive stud things. It says on here that 88% gamers that try the mouse, it takes them about 18 hours or so to completely get used to the thumb grid here. And I'll give you a close-up of the thumb grid sometime soon. And it's probably the one thing that people freak out over, because, you know, it's a lot of buttons for a thumb to be pressing and memorizing. It freaked me out too before I bought this, but it's something that you do really have to get used to. It took me... I've owned this for about 3 weeks now, and I've pretty much mastered it now. I have 2 profiles for 2 different games that I play. There is a switch on the bottom called, it's labeled, one switch is called 1, 2, 3, and the other is labeled num, as in the numpad. And you can switch in between the two because some MMO games, they rely on these number keys right here. And some MMO games use the numpad instead, using the minus and plus sign in place of the dash and equal sign on some MMO games. WoW uses this top bar, other games may use that. I'm not sure. My camera does have autofocus technology, but sometimes it will try to focus on something that's out in the distance instead of something I put it right in the face, so I have to manually change the focus. Here's the thumb grid. Even if you don't have the adhesive studs, there's still little tiny studs on buttons 4 through 6 and 10 through 12. You can see them if I kind of bend them to the light. So you always still kind of know where you are. You won't instantly know, but if you kind of wiggle your thumb and feel it, you'll know where you are. Right there is the switch, the 1, 2, 3 num switch. And it's really cool because you can almost nest profiles inside of others, because you can have one profile active, turn your mouse over and switch it, and you can program totally new buttons just for that configuration. So it's like a profile inside of another profile. It's really neat. The only downside is that you'd have to flip your mouse over, waste your time, and switch it. It's got a great ergonomic design. It has the mouse buttons here just are curved for your fingers. Ring finger goes into a shaft right here. Pinky finger, there's really nothing for it to rest on. It can go on the ground. And I'm used to, or I was used to, this is my previous mouse, the Steelseries MMO gaming mouse. As you can see, it's in really bad condition. The buttons do their job, and that's the only reason why I kept it for so long, but it's in bad condition, and plus the software is very buggy and it crashes the computer. Anyways, but when I held it, the pinky finger rested on the wing, this right wing here, and I wasn't used to that. The pinky finger kind of gets eaten up by the ground when you move this direction or something, but you get used to eventually by just lifting it just a little bit, so that doesn't bother you anymore. It's got Teflon material on the bottom all around, and if I can redo the focus right here, I can show you that the cord here is braided, kind of like a lot of mice are these days. I hear that it's the main reason for doing that is to reduce tangle with wires. I'm not sure how that works, but that is true according to most people. Moving on to technical kind of stuff. The mouse does go to 1,600 DPI. I'd never heard of people who played MMO games and needed to have a DPI that was that high. That's probably mainly for first-person shooter people. I keep my DPI at the default, which is 800 DPI, I believe. I keep it at that. The software with the Razer Naga does not come in the box. It's actually, you download it from their website. I think the most latest version right now is version 2.03, I believe. And I'll pick up my cameras right here soon and show you the software. First thing here is the assign button page. It's user friendly. You can see, here's the top view of your mice right here. Button, left click, right click, and 3 here is when you push down on the scroll wheel. You can change scroll up and scroll down over here. Switching to the thumb grid is this right here, and you can program macros or single keys for all 12. And here's the num thing right here too. If you switch that, bam, you've got a whole new 12 set of commands. Really neat, very user friendly. Just performance, this is where you can do DPI. You put this, do the slider up and down, 800 to or so. Let me readjust the focus right here. Okay, and goes up to 5,600 down to 100. I don't think I've ever heard anybody do that. Enable independent XY sensitivity. That means you can change this different sensitivity between X coordinates and Y coordinates. So like you can make side to side very sensitive, but up and down not so sensitive. Enable on the fly sensitivity on screen display, but on the fly sensitivity itself can be enabled on a different menu. And it basically allows you can program a button here on the fly sensitivity. That you push that button that has that command and it will make a little thing pop up on your screen or not, and you can use the scroll wheel to change the sensitivity while you're in game instead of having to go get out of the game and use the software right here. Acceleration is something that's not explained in the manual that I couldn't, or at least could find. I had to look on the internet for what it meant. And it's something that Windows has that it has a bad reputation. Nobody uses it, so I just keep it off. And polling rate basically increases the rate at which your mouse reports actions of your mouse. The higher the better. This is your profile page. It took me a while to figure it out, but you have to double click on the profile number to switch to it, and then up here it will tell you that you've changed. I've got a profile for World of Warcraft Shiro and Commander for Command & Conquer 4. And you can import and export profiles from different folders that you have, create new ones. You can make executables that automatically turn on the profiles, although these two must be wrong exes, because I've opened the games and then it'd still be on the wrong one, so I'll have to take a look onto that. And this is where you create new macros. I've got 2 macros so far, and you can enable the delay, which is really neat. You can insert custom delays, and even like clicking inside the box while you're recording the keystroke, it'll show, left click or right click, whatever. And let's see, I told you that you had to double click on these. And last thing here, lighting maintenance. You can basically turn off the lighting on the mouse, on the scroll wheel and thumb grid, as well as the little logo that's on the back of the mouse. I don't know why anyone would want to do that. Shows your current firmware version and driver version. You can check for the updates and cool stuff like that. But always make sure that when you change something, you either hit the apply or OK button, because I've been frustrated before that I've changed something and nothing was happening, but I hadn't pushed OK or apply yet. Make sure you always do that. Okay, so now I want to give you some of my special thoughts on the mouse. The first thing I want to say is these two buttons right here that are on the side. Some people may find difficulty reaching their pointing finger up there to push them. Honestly, I wish those two buttons as a group would switch places with left click, similar to how this mouse has it. They have the button right next to the scroll wheel. Can't say anything today. I really liked that. It hasn't bothered me too much though. And a lot of you are wondering, one thing people worry about is that their thumb may be too big to push any of these buttons, and they were afraid that they'd end up pushing more than one button every time they go for something. And as a lot of people say, it's a lot like a cell phone. You know, you first look at it and the buttons are really, really small, and then eventually you just get used to it and you can push single button, single button, single button. And a lot of people said that they wouldn't be able to like reach the thumb all the way back here, especially for 10, 11, and 12. But I found something really neat. You can, instead of using like the tip of your thumb to push 10, 11, or 12, instead you can use what I would call the thigh of your thumb here. Let me adjust the focus again. Sorry about that. So instead of reaching back and pushing it, like push it with your thigh like that. You could find it and just push it. And it's similar to how your middle finger would push the what I would call the middle finger thigh buttons on this mouse right here. These two right here, the middle finger just sits on top of them. I just flex it back and it would push the button. Similar. And I told you that the pinky dangles and you'd have to get used to that. And as far as durability, I mean, this thing is pretty cool. I have not seen any signs of damage yet. I did have adhesive studs on these once to accelerate my learning curve, and I took the adhesive studs off and there's nothing left on the buttons. I don't see anything at all. And unlike the WoW MMO mouse, as you can see, the metallic finish is peeled off and it's absolutely hideous. That happens like within the first 3 days you own the mouse, and this has not done anything like that. Plus, the WoW MMO mouse is $100. The Razer Naga, I hear, it's only $80, I believe, at retail price. It's even cheaper and it's even better. Definitely a mouse that I would recommend to people who play MMOs. Maybe not the best mouse for FPS, but it does have capabilities to do FPS. I hope you liked the Razer Naga interview, and I'll maybe upload a WoW video sometime soon. I'm not sure. I'll get to that later, maybe in a bulletin post. Thanks for watching.